Terror on the Tube.
Welcome to Terror on the Tube, where we watch and discuss horror and suspense made for TV movies from the 70s, 80s, and at least twice now, the 1990s. I am Gilman Joel, and I'm joined, as always, by Pumpkinhead Peter.
Hello.
And the horror unicorn.
That sounded really, really pitiful.
Allyson.
Hi.
So I feel like it's been a minute.
Yeah. This and whose fault is that?
Oh yeah, well, so I thought you were talking about the messing up the When Michael Calls episode.
No. It's been a while because we were supposed to record this ages ago.
Peter is getting over the schmutz,
sick.
as they say.
Yeah.
I will say, and I apologize if you're listening, but one of our listeners/watchers, because it was on YouTube, commented about, I watched When Michael Calls, but then you guys did hijack. Yeah,
yes.
That's and I said I would explain it in our next episode. I'm explaining it now. That was 100% my bad. So we record. Well, first off, let's do the full story here. We met up to record it, and I'd watched the wrong movie. So that set us back. And they were like, okay, next week we'll actually do the right movie. So I did Bad Ronald. Right? Was that the one I watched? And you guys watched Michael Calls. I watched When Michael Calls. We reviewed it. We recorded it. Well, I almost always, as soon as we're done, I mean, within an hour of finishing, I download what we do, and I've got it saved in a couple places so that what happened doesn't happen. In like 10 years of doing, well, actually more than 10 years now. What am I up to? Like, good Lord, 14 years.
We never lost.
In general. I don't think I
lost an episode.
I don't think I ever lost an episode. Nope. Certainly not since doing the video thing over the last year. And I basically went into StreamYard, and you fills up. And so I was like, I'll delete these old episodes from like when we first started. I don't need them. I've got them in other places, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why. I don't know what possessed me. I got up to When Michael Calls, and I did. And normally it had been within a couple weeks since we'd recorded it. I would have just been, let me just check. Let me just 100% verify. And I hit delete, and I went back and I looked, and it was gone. And I contacted StreamYard. They're like, yeah, sorry, buddy. You delete them. They're gone.
And I got a frantic message from Joel.
My God. I felt so bad. Because like it was bad. It would have been bad enough to just do that in general. But for that movie, when I had friggin' missed it, this would have been so if we do it again, it'll be the third time we meet up to record.
Let's just we'll do it, but let's just
here is what it boils down to. They kind of liked it. I didn't really. There we go.
Is it going back in the pot? Like,
I guess we can at some point.
We can do it at a later point in time.
Yeah. Like when we get to the end of Terror on the Tube, and we're like desperate for material. We're like, hey, When Michael Calls.
I don't know. I think it's one that's worth talking about at some point.
It would be. Yes.
Yeah,
I was sad because I felt like I actually had a lot to say during that one. And then also I was wearing my awesome rock star coat, and I was like,
you were. And this was not some passive aggressive way for me to be like, Allyson took the spotlight. I can't have that. Delete. No, it was not that at all.
We know that's what you do.
Yeah, I totally.
There's other missing episodes.
It's all my ego. It's all about my ego. No, I honestly, I felt this big, man. I felt horrible.
Yeah, that was
called podcasting. These things happen.
I know. I still felt bad though.
Listen, there's still an episode that Hugh and I did years ago that is just we're contemplating doing it again now because we forgot everything we said about it. And that one is lost too.
Yeah. So. Well, for what it's worth, we only recorded that one just a handful of months ago, and I forgot pretty much everything we said about it. So, hey, it'll be new to us.
I think I have saved my notes, so
that's good. We will have to do it again.
Yeah. Because we are gonna after this season, we're gonna shift things up a little bit, but we'll get to that later.
Okay. Well, but we're not doing When Michael Calls. We're just explaining why I'm a lunkhead and lost it. We are doing, however, Hotline. Call 1-900 Woman.
Wonder Woman. I'm not going to lie. I heard that several times.
Peter, I contemplated starting this episode by introducing you as Sweet Meat.
Ugh. so creepy.
Is that like it's bad enough to do that? Like I'm slick and I'm gonna mac on the ladies vibe and do really bad. Like, hey, honey, sweet toots, blah blah blah. But sweet meat.
Yeah,
what is wrong with you, dude? What is actually wrong with you?
So many things were wrong with that character.
Oh my god, we'll get.
And
to it,
unfortunately, he was very realistically depicted.
Yeah, well,
as someone who used to bartend and work in restaurants throughout my 20s, I can attest. You're not an exaggeration.
So you're telling me like some guy would sit there and call you
the first dude?
Nobody ever called me anything quite that gross, but I definitely had to tell people not to touch me. I definitely had people say, "Oh, there's extra money in your tip if you flirt with my friend or my son," or "What are you doing later?" Like, is that ring or wedding bands? And I'm just trying to do my job. And, I did.
And again, just because you tip someone does not, even though you tip well, it doesn't.
Oh, they're confusing. A lot of people confuse the service industry with sex work. And
no kidding.
There's a big price difference. Yeah. They're getting paid way more.
You tip for the service, the maybe the night of the smiles and the maybe conversations. Just because you tip does not mean you're going to get nookie when you at the end of the shift.
$5.
I guess. I guess it's because of how I was raised. Right, I was raised around a lot of women. No, I can't even fathom doing that. That would literally mortify me if I was with somebody who did it, or if I did it. And this is not some fake male feminist bullshit.
No, it's. I'm married to someone who would never ever occur to him. Also, he works in the service industry currently, and people, it's not just women. People do this to guys too, and sometimes women are harassing as well. It's less rare it's less common unless it's like Bachelor at night. They can get a little out of control. But no, people often, and not gender specific, like people will look at people in the service industry as like not human. It's a problem.
Nothing, but we don't have to go down this road right now. But honestly, if you want to get on my bad side really fast, is go out to eat with me and mistreat the waiter or waitress or I'm sorry, but my theory, and I've explained this to my kids ad nauseum. Yes, that person is, quote unquote, serving us, bringing us, but because of that, you should be treating them with the utmost of respect. And gratitude, quite honestly, because it's their job, granted, but that you should act as if what they're doing is a favor for you because you're coming out of your house, you're getting to relax, they're having to go. I just can't even fathom, because I've been around some people where and when I was younger, especially, and I wouldn't want to say anything. Now I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? If somebody did that. But when I was a kid, when you're a kid, especially if it's an adult that you're with, you're not going to say anything. But I remember being around some adults and they would be like, something would be wrong. What's this? Sit it back. And I remember as a kid thinking, oh my God, why? Why are you doing this? First off, they're going to take it back to the kitchen and do something gross to it, you idiot. There's that.
9 times out of 10, they won't, but
there's that
I worked in the service industry for 12 years.
There's a chance.
I did know a couple people. Not gonna name names.
Yeah, I bet.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
Remember that old sketch, The Absent-Minded Waiter?
Sorry, I'm moving a light that's like...
Okay. The Absent-Minded Waiter. I think it's the Steve Martin thing where they go to a restaurant and it's fairly rude, the waiter, and the woman is like, why are we going here? And the guy says, just wait for it. And it kind of ends up with the absent-minded waiter thinking he got a large sum and he's kind of paying at the change. So they leave with a couple of $1,000 and said, oh, come again. And then the absent-minded waiter, he walks out and he comes in. Oh, are you just sitting down? And they just look at each other. Okay.
It was kind of like the Tom Hanks, Mr. Short-Term Memory. Remember that?
Yeah, something like that. But just go to YouTube.
Remember that, Allyson? Oh my God, yeah. It was Mr. Short-Term Memory. Shouldn't have been standing under that pear tree. Like a pear hits him in the... So he can never, has no short-term memory. So he walks into a room and it was Tom Hanks on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
I missed that.
Yeah, see, we talked about good writing before.
Yeah, we did.
Before you got on. Yeah.
I don't know how good that writing was. I just remember the stupid jingle.
Yeah. No, the absent-minded waiter is that he gets their order wrong and everything, and he's fairly rude to the couple, but they walk away with a fortune at the end. So,
well, I'll tell you who doesn't walk away with a fortune, Peter.
Hotline.
Lynda Carter in Hotline.
Wonder Woman.
Do you have the synopses?
Yep.
I realize I just
one. It's the one that's right there.
Yeah.
A beautiful telephone operator is stalked by a murderous madman.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was, originally aired on Saturday, October 16th, 1982 on CBS.
Hi, Drew.
Oh, hi, Drew. Can I have one too?
Peter, you're making it weird.
I know. Dr. Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh.
He had to go to work early. It's Mother's Day weekend, which means everyone is descending upon his workplace.
Wait, right now?
Yeah.
What?
Well,
That's
okay.
early.
I don't want to derail this conversation more than we already have. It just got nice weather here in our area, and everybody gets what I started calling the sun crazies, because it was like 50 degrees 2 days ago and rainy.
Okay.
And now it's going to be 90. So everybody, like the hotel resort that he works at, is booked up now fully for the next 2 weeks, starting as of yesterday. And like everybody's just like, we have to be outside, and people start driving erratically. It'll wear off after everyone gets used to the sun, but it's a thing here. It gets a little weird. So he's been working 12-hour shifts and having to close down the restaurant stuff. So he was like, I'm gonna be leaving while you're recording, and so I was like, well, I'll just mute my mic and then use the camera. So I guess PDA for you two.
Well, yeah.
I know what thumbnail I'm going to use for that.
No.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. All right. So
sorry.
No, not at all.
I know you can't have one, Peter.
So Hotline. Yeah, yes. I could do this, Peter. I will keep us on track with Hotline. I will share the IMDb page so that we have a little share screen. I want to share.
Barber shave a pig.
What? Oh, that's right. The nursery rhyme thing. I forgot about that.
Oh, I was supposed to whisper.
All right. So first question that must be asked. When did you first see this movie, Allyson? Because I know you tend to have seen some of these before.
Couple weeks ago when we were going to record, and then Peter got sick. No guilt to Peter.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. So I watched it again last night because it'd been long enough that I felt like I needed a refresher. Plus, the first time I was kind of like, oh, I'll check this out. And then I was also half crafting, so I paid more attention this time around. But yeah, first time this year.
Okay. All right. Peter, I assume you had not seen this before?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Which is weird. It's Lynda Carter, so I mean.
Yeah, that's why I thought maybe you had at least heard of it, because it's
not only that, there's a lot of good actors in it. So
yeah,
but
I saw it for the first time yesterday as well. So
nice.
Yeah,
so we're all first timers.
We are all first timers with this movie. So those out there, just so you know, we will be spoiling this movie, and it is a mystery. It's a mystery.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly. It's a standard kind of like 80s TV thriller, so there's nothing really.
No, but if we give away key elements about who the killer is,
we will.
So I will say this before we get into the nitty gritty of it, and maybe it's because I was just tired in general. I do feel like this movie was too long. I didn't dislike it.
It maybe a tad.
It felt too long to me. Like it felt like it there was, especially the middle, the second act, it just really like, okay. So, but that being said, the one thing it did, I thought I knew who the killer was a couple of times. It pulled a scream on me. Let me just put it that way. Mock me if you will, Daryl, which I know you will. That I guessed who the killer was early on, but then started to second guess myself throughout the movie. And I only guessed it because the voice on the phone, which I'm sure we'll get into, I thought I recognized something in the intonation, even though he's trying to do that whispering voice. He has a very certain type of voice.
It sounded almost like a whisper with kind of like an electronic thing device. It sounded weird.
It sounded like him. He just made it sound like he made it a little raspier. And the thing is that that actor, which I don't want to give away who it is, had a small part on Golden Girls, which we just finished up not that long ago, so he was so relative. And I'll say who he was in that in a minute. I just
you're talking about the actual murderer. Okay, well, he not only we are still here. Remember that one, Barbara Crampton's movie?
Yes.
Oh.
He was in that one.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I know it.
This is one I think you've seen, Allyson, The Ghosts of Buxley Hall.
Yeah,
it's been a while, but I have watched that.
Yeah, I like that one. He's in that one too.
This is Disney, right?
Yep.
Like live action Disney.
Well, so if anybody who knows who is in all those movies, they know who the killer is. But
maybe
I will be surprised.
We'll get there.
That being said, there are some other good actors in this, and they did a great job, I thought, at doing a bit of sleight of hand. Because I don't know how you two felt, but there were certain parts where I thought that it had to be this one person who is, let's just say, close to her. And I'm speaking vague. We'll get to specifics in a minute. But I thought it was this one person who she meets at the beginning and gradually gets close to her. I'll say it that way. And then as it progresses, I was like, it seems too obvious. Yeah, but then I noticed this person was never there when the phone calls were happening.
And you kind of get to, you start having that, like, it's too obvious. But then that kind of gnawing thought, but they're not really. Yeah. It's too obvious.
There's three main suspects, right? There's three guys that are like the prime suspects. And
can I say also they're kind of all terrible?
Yep. That was kind of one of the first things I wrote down with one of them. And
elaborate for people listening. Why are they?
Well, the guy at the start of the movie, we talked about Lynda Carter is an art student working at a bar. And we have this creepy dude at the start who thinks that tipping her $20 will get her in the sack with him. And then this other guy, Justin Price, who we don't know who he is from the start, he comes in kind of saving her, and kind of stays behind while she locks up.
The way he saves her, like, well, I mean, he's not creepy in the bar, but
at her house. Oh no, yeah.
Afterwards,
it's so creepy.
Yes.
When she gets home and she gets in a shower and everything, and we hear someone deep breathing, like we always hear him back in the movies.
You can see how influenced this movie was by slashers of the time.
Oh yeah, this is kind of like a stalk and slash.
Yeah, this is like a slasher without the gore or the nudity.
Yeah.
Well, it's 1982, so yeah.
And we see, I mean, she's locked the doors and everything, but we see this person kind of breaking in.
Yeah.
And then she gets out of the shower, and then there's a knock on the door, and lo and behold, it's this guy she met at the bar, Justin Price. Who just says, well, there's someone in the house.
And I followed him back to your house.
Yeah. And basically said, let me in. And she's smart enough to say no. But then he walks around and walks into her home.
So that was the moment I thought, okay, it's too obvious. It can't be. It's too obvious.
But she still should have shot him, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, man. I'll tell you what, because first off, by the way, as the movie plays out, again, we're going to spoil. So if you don't want to be spoiled, hey, want to see this as a mystery, pause this or stop watching it on YouTube.
Yeah,
and go do
you
that.
Should. It's a good movie.
Yeah, but those that say, I don't really care, I've seen it, and or I don't care. It turns out it's not him, but which then means that technically everything he said or did up to that point, while debatable on the boundaries front, was actually not wrong. Like following the guy back, he might have saved her because somebody.
Yeah, sure.
Now, presumably, we know now who that person was. It wasn't Sweet Meat or whatever.
No.
But at that time, you didn't know that.
But still, the fact that he just walks in to her home.
Yeah.
Through that door, you probably should lock your door. It's like, wait, what?
I always feel like the better move would have been to like push the curtain back, say, "Hey, don't want to come in I don't want to freak you out, but the door is wide open." So
he should have said something before coming through.
Yeah. I like to open up, and be like,
well, looky here. So this is how you live, huh?
Nice house you got here. Yeah.
And she's standing there in her bathrobe, and it's like, wait, you're pushing the boundaries, dude. You just met her. Even though you saved her life, probably it's just,
Well, and she's expected to believe that you weren't the prowler because, like, she doesn't see the other person. So we don't know. We don't see the other person. For all we know, he could have been prowling around her place while she's trying to take a shower.
Yeah,
but he does stay behind when she calls the cops, and he does stay behind to wait for them. He could have easily just ran at the house and just got the hell out of there, but he stayed. So at least that played a little bit into his hand, where you got that too obvious.
I could also see though, like a really arrogant psycho being like, "Well, I'm a professor and I'm white, so they're gonna listen to me. They're not gonna suspect me automatically because I'm an upstanding man."
Well, I definitely think in 1982, a guy who was a doctor would have absolutely. Well, and actually now, I mean, doctors. No offense to anybody, doctors are like we have doctors in the audience, but let's just pretend for a minute we do. I'm not saying all doctors are this way, but let's just say that oftentimes one of the stereotypes is a bit of a God complex, or maybe thinking you're somehow kind of on a different plane from the rest of us mere mortals. So that being equal, I am not remotely surprised that he had that sort of vibe. Now, to be fair, he wasn't wrong. Like, he was willing to stay. It turned out he was right, and that So
he was still kind of pushy though.
He was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But all of that being said, so that he's I would argue in a way the main suspect, even though so they got the other. I'll glom them together for a minute. So you have these other two suspects. Who am I the only person who had Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth? Once upon a time, Hollywood.
I did immediately, and then I have something to say about that later when we talk more about that.
Okay. So it's basically you've got this grizzled old
Tom Hunter, the douchebag.
Yeah, he's an actor and
a douchebag and a drunkard.
Sure, and he's
kind of a creep.
Yeah, he's a creep. It's the whole thing, right? He's sort of like the quintessential once was a star, no longer a star, but can't let that go kind of guy.
And plus, he has a crush on our main. Lynda Carter.
It's implied that they had a past relationship, and it's kind of, I don't know. This is at the point when that's revealed. I'm like, the character's name is Brian. I'm like, what are you doing, Brian? Why are you hanging out with all these creepy old men?
Meaning that just for people who are listening and are watching, the Lynda Carter character.
Lynda Carter character.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Brian.
Like,
yes.
It's like, you're Lynda Carter. Why are you letting these overbearing creeps push you around?
And by the way, am I the only person? I always thought that pronunciation was Brienne. It makes it from the South.
Well,
but Brienne was always how they pronounced it. I remember I knew some Briennes, and that's
they call her Brian in this.
Brian.
Why not? So she's got that guy who's like constantly macking on her, and then
Forrest,
her boss is like the third suspect. Though they downplay him, and he's obviously a very like kind of like more mild mannered, like not. And
he seems at the start of the movie, he seems to generally care.
Yes,
and seems to be a nice guy.
Yes.
So
that immediately made me think he's the guy. So it was like that combined with the voice stuff. I'm like, okay, it's that guy. However, the thing this movie I thought did pretty darn well was as the story moves along, I never thought it was the star, the Tom Hunter guy, because he was so much of a jerk. Like it was it's like a guy like that weirdly is probably not going to be the creepy serial killer guy. Like he's all of his crap is like already out on the table. He's not.
Because this guy, he calls Lynda Carter's character and whispers and gives her kind of clue. He claims they're playing a game. I never really got to what that game.
Oh, by the way, anybody else get vibes of like, did Kevin Williamson watch this movie? Because the voice calling, I want to play a game. Like there were definitely echoes of Scream.
Yeah.
As well,
probably. And he gives her kind of clues to what he's done and things that so she kind of, together with Justin Price's character, puts two and two together. Okay, so that happened there and there that year, and they start putting it together, and she's looking at microfilm, which I always find a blast.
I love that. Yeah.
Movies with microfilm.
Did either of you ever do that? I actually remember
I have. Yeah. At one point, it's very disorienting.
In elementary school and junior high for like learning how to use the library.
Yep. I remember middle and high school. I remember going, as I was actually looking up this story I was interested in, I had to go back through all of these old newspapers and
exactly.
They do it on the X-Files a bit in the early seasons, and I think Mulder complains about needing Dramamine.
It's for some weird reason I like seeing that in these oldies.
Yeah,
but she puts together, and it fits with it fits too well with this Tom Hunter character, because everywhere this murders has happened, he's been like through his various movies and being on set. So it was, I don't know, he felt too obvious.
Yeah.
He also didn't seem smart enough to be
plus
pulling
his back
all
was
this
shot,
off.
So, his back was shot, so he could barely move.
Well, and the other thing, again, for those that are watching and or listening, the issue isn't just that he's coming after her. It turns out he's killed like 4 or 5 other women.
Yeah, because we kind of forgot that the start of the movie
very
starts
open,
with very open. We see a car driving up to the cliffs, and someone that's kind of rough, cutting open a sheet and just throw her down a cliff, and that's just what. And then there's this couple, a young couple that finds her later.
I love that. They're like, the girl's like, I don't think we should. It's out in public. It's just so classic. It's like, we're going to go fool around on the beach and there's a body.
Yeah.
It made me laugh really hard.
Yep. Classic. So,
and I will say, and by the way, I will say that actress that they had playing the corpse, kudos to her, because it looked like she was on the rocks face down. Yeah, and I don't think that was a dummy. So that did not look comfortable at all. That looked like a body landed there. So kudos to her.
Again, but and you think, okay, so he killed, and you find out that he that's why he calls himself the barber, because he cuts her hair and all that. But not only that, one of the victims he cut off her head, apparently. So it's still fairly brutal. You never see anything, but you kind of hear about the murders. So this barber dude is not a nice guy.
No.
So and maybe we should say that too. Justin Price, the guy she meets, gets her to work at his hotline, the crisis center.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, wait, hold on real quick. We probably should say that. That's how she ends up. She doesn't start there. She's a bartender. But then
I have a question about this when you bring it up.
Yeah. So basically, that just in case anybody didn't hear that Justin Price, the doctor, has this crisis hotline. Other people work there, which we'll get to in a minute, because Marvin Barry, your cousin, is there, and
I wrote that down.
As soon as I said it, my wife, I was like, "Hun, that's Marvin Barry."
Marvin, you need to hear this.
Yeah. Chuck, it's your cousin, Marvin Barry. And so there's other people that work there, and she's brought in because of the way she handled Sweetmeat.
He feels that she could work the hotline.
I just realized, by the way, how that entire sentence sounded. He realizes how she handled Sweetmeat.
Yeah, I let it go.
It's not that kind of hotline, Joel.
I know. What 1-900 Sweetmeat.
Oh God. I'm gonna write that down.
All right. So what were you gonna say, Allyson? What were you gonna say?
So, we're introduced to the call center that's like a crisis line. And you see the professor, I forget what his name is.
Justin Price.
So he's basically training new people to work in the hotline or work the hotline, which you would need to do. Like if anybody's ever done any kind of crisis work, there's a bunch of training that goes into that. Mm-hmm. And he just throws her on the phone. Yeah. Like she comes in and she's like hemming and hawing about whether she wants to do it. It's never mentioned whether this is a volunteer or paid. I feel like it might be volunteer, but and she's supposed to make time between her schooling and her job and like just have free time to do this. And so she goes and she decides, yes, I do want to give this a try, but I don't know that I'm cut out for it. And they get a call while she's there and they're like, oh, put Brian on the phone with this teenage runaway. And it's just like, she has no training.
Yeah.
Nope,
no experience.
Wrong.
I'm sorry. Bartending is, you deal with a lot and there's, you could probably have like, I don't know, a psych credit or something for doing that. But you're not qualified to deal with people who are suicidal or in an abuse situation.
Unless you handled Mr. Sweetmeat prior, and then you're totally prepared. You can deal with him. You can deal with any.
Assuming everyone's calling in drunk and sexually harassing you, then
yes, you are fine. You're totally fine. No, I agree with you. It's ridiculous, but I feel like an early 80s TV movie.
I know. It's just funny.
We're just gonna go
because they go out of the way to show people being trained, but she's not joining them, which I could have just easily. It's like you set up the scene. You could just have her be like, "Okay, next class is tomorrow or whatever."
Yeah, he kind of says, since you're a bartender, this comes natural to you. You're used to handling people like this. Like, wait, what? Okay, sure.
Like a serial killer who's going to give you nursery rhymes that you have to solve.
Yeah, so that's how she starts getting the creepy calls, is pretty much right after she starts taking shifts at the place that's actually literally just called Hotline. She starts getting these creepy phone calls from this guy who like wants to confess his murders to her, and then but include in riddles. It's like, I did these bad things. Here's riddles. You have to figure out where and when and all that.
The best one, would you both agree? The best one, there once was a man from Nantucket. Just kidding, that's not in there. But sorry. There once was a man.
Well, there was like Judy or something on the plains gave her great pains or something. I didn't write them down.
I know they were very. I don't know if they made some of these up just for the movie, but they were interesting.
Humpty Dumpty sat on it.
Yeah.
And then there was the Barber shave a pig, which I was just trying to picture. Why on earth would that's just
Barber shave a pig. How much hair does it take to make a wig, something like that?
But isn't that because like in the olden days with straight razors, they actually would use like pig skin, I think, to like practice.
Maybe.
I think I might also be making that up. I feel like I heard it somewhere, but it's possible I just made all that up.
I'm gonna turn on the lights. Hang on.
What is he doing?
He's gonna go kiss Drew.
Oh, that would be a mess. So all of a sudden, Drew pops into the frame. That would have been the most. It turns out the whole time Peter's like been staying next door and like
Peter's visiting.
Oh my god, you guys didn't tell me that would have been the greatest punk me ever. Because I've been like, my mind would have just been blown. What is happening?
Drew, I'm sure Drew would rather be being visited by Peter than having to head off to work early.
I feel like that is a safe bet. Yes. All right. Better, Peter. Did you hear us? Okay?
What did I miss?
Oh, nothing. Not a thing.
I guess you can listen to the episode.
Yeah, I will. I will.
So the thing is that am I both? Would you both agree with me too that the reason why he starts calling that hotline, because presumably he's never called it before, is because, and we probably might as well just you want to lay it out now who the killer is, because I feel like we kind of have to address that.
We've warned. There are spoilers.
Yeah. All right. So Allyson, do you want to say who it is?
Oh, so it's totally ends up being her boss Kyle, who seems like the cool laid back boss.
The stunt man.
And it's revealed that he's always, because there's just like they're kind of honing in on Tom, the senior actor who's Kyle's best friend, where they have
he was at the different there's one place
everywhere there was a murder except for Reno.
Except for one. Yeah, Reno. They couldn't figure it out. Yeah.
But Kyle was in all of those places.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's not revealed till the very end.
Nope.
But Kyle would know. In fact, I almost kind of wondered, she says she is house sitting the character of Brian at the beginning, like the house that gets invaded. It's a cool house. I'm a sucker for wood paneling. I say I liked the bar too, but she's like, oh, I'm house sitting, and I kind of wondered, did her boss facilitate that? Is that like a friend of theirs, or is that a property he owns? Yeah. Because Kyle seems like he knows about all the things that are going on all the time, so of course he would know that she's doing this hotline work. And of course, he would know that she's flying out to investigate this creepy crawler. This guy, because she gets a lead that takes her to Reno, and she goes to a psychiatric ward to interview somebody about it, and beheading one. So he knows where she's going because she's worked for him for a while, and she just trusts him. And his reveal about why he's killing the women actually made sense to me. Like, he just he was jealous of Tom's affection and the effect these women had on Tom. So they have this very Kyle and Tom, like you mentioned, like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood characters they were both stuntmen in Hollywood, and then somebody liked the way Tom looked, so he got plucked for stardom, and Kyle became his stunt double. But they came up in the ranks originally together. So I don't think this is a super uncommon story, because, you know, you have it in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but if you've ever watched Singing in the Rain, like there's sort of like a slight dynamic there with the two main guy characters and that. So I feel like it's probably like kind of a common Hollywood story of you have buddies trying to make it together. And
I imagine in that scenario too, you become almost like brothers. Like you're so always like, because you're, you know, the person you resemble each other to some degree. You'd have to be a double, right? So, I
trust each other because the whole work and all that.
Well, and does Kyle maybe have romantic feelings? It's not spelled out, but like for Tom, because he's very protective of Tom. Yeah. So he's.
I questioned that. I questioned that at first, but if it was meant to be there, they didn't like overplay that. Like I felt like I took it more of a jealousy, because and you could even read it as he was jealous because like Tom got picked, he didn't get picked. He ended up getting Tom's got a bad back or whatever, but this guy got hurt so bad he has to use a cane. Like, you know what I mean? So there's that dynamic of like the thing you love, the thing you hate. The fact that he had to ride on this guy's coattails, and maybe every time Tom got closer to one of these women, that was Kyle's not so subtle way of getting back at Tom in a very I guess it's the ultimate passive aggressive. You murder someone as a way to retaliate.
Yeah, no, that would totally make sense too. So I could see it either way, but it seemed reasonable. It wasn't just like it when he's revealed to be the killer. It was like, oh, I mean, I didn't necessarily guess him, but it wasn't out of the blue. It wasn't no.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I don't like it. In a lot of these TV movie mystery type things have done this too, where the killer is revealed at the end and it's someone you've never met.
Yeah.
I
thought about this while we got closer to the ending of this movie. I thought, is this going to be someone complete random person?
That drives me crazy. I don't like that.
That would have been crap.
And it's hard because like if it's somebody that's one of the characters, it's very hard. The people, the audience is going to be guessing. Maybe it's this guy. Maybe it's this guy. And the key is to put them off the trail. Like I know I'm going to do something that annoys Daryl to no end, but I've got to say it. The brilliance of Scream, besides having two killers, was the fact that Billy was so obviously, spoiler alert, so obviously the guy that it's almost like, well, it can't be him. Like, it's too obvious, right? And then the thing they do with like the phone call, and he was in jail at the time, he gives him an alibi. And it's like a subtle little thing that when at the end, when she, because Sydney's a smart character, says, I just thought it'd be really smart if you use your one call to call me. Wouldn't that be a smart thing to do? And then fake is dead. My point is, it's like they did a good job in that movie as well. It's misdirection, right? It's like a magic trick.
They kind of do this too when she's in the bar and he calls her at the bar, and she walks down and she sees Kyle standing there, and she says, "Where's Tom?" Or he's in the men's room, and then Tom comes out and says, hi, and he walks away, and she says, is there a phone in the men's room? And he says, yeah.
But if you notice, Kyle had just come from behind.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
So they're all
and Justin wasn't, and Justin's not there either. So all of them are unaccounted for.
Exactly. Well, so I think if you watch this again, you kind of notice more, which is kind of cool with this, because I think you could watch it again and still get a kick out of it
and still pay attention to when.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it twice,
so
I definitely think it holds up for a second viewing.
Yeah,
nice.
I maybe even liked it better the second time than the first time. But yeah, what I was gonna say is if you haven't watched this yet and you look this up on YouTube, one of the things that comes up like in search pretty much immediately is there's a podcast that was called Cinema Speculation that does videos on YouTube, and they interviewed Quentin Tarantino, and they have him talk about this movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so like I listened to this. It's just an 8-minute segment that's up on YouTube. So if you just search in the YouTube search Hotline 1982, this is like the third thing that pops up. So I a couple weeks ago I listened to it and I was like, Oh, that's crazy. And here's the really funny part is I saw that was there. I listened to like a couple seconds of the audio and then I was like, I'll listen to this after I watch it because I don't want to spoil it. But I was like, well, I guess Quentin Tarantino probably likes some made for TV movies. And then as I'm watching Hotline and I'm like thinking about the characters of Tom and Kyle and thinking about how this reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was like, oh, okay. I get why they want to talk to him about this. And apparently he watched it because the person on the podcast recommended it to him. He'd never seen it before, which I believe. I know he's been accused of ripping things off for other movies.
Here's the thing: it's not. Is it ripping it? Okay, just because you have two.
Not
characters,
necessarily.
Yeah, I don't consider that ripping off anything, quite frankly.
But also, like, if you, I mean, yeah, he's the right age where he could have totally seen this on TV and remembered it, but it would have aired probably like once.
Yeah, and so
gone.
what? So what? Yeah. I was listening to a documentary somebody put together about the making of Raiders. It was actually the whole premise of the documentary was how Disney has like completely decimated the character. But it goes at the beginning of it. It's all about Lucas, Spielberg, and Kasdan and their process for how they wrote that first movie. And they apparently they recorded themselves talking it. So I guess there's some transcript or something that exists of this thing. I would love to listen to it. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But the back and forth is it's like, okay, are they ripping things off? Because they point blank are like saying, well, like remember in Treasure Sierra Madre, the way that Bogart's dressed, that's how Indy's dressed.
Well, so like everybody's all, I'm not going to get into it, but like everybody is talking about AI generated art and generated writing and all these things and controversies and legalities and IP theft aside, like I think there's something interesting about observing how it works because I think our brains kind of work that way where we just we pick up all this information, we pick up all these stories, we pick up these different characters, you know, throughout our lives that we're exposed to. And we sort of, if we're creative people, then I think a lot of our output is sort of this amalgamation of those things.
100% agree with you.
So anyway, it's fun though. If you want to like listen to this like 8-minute snippet, like I definitely recommend checking it out because he was like kind of blown away. He was like, oh man, this is really cool. This is, and there's even a boat involved in the story. And
I would say this, not to take us down a horrible trail of AI talk, but I will say this: you were absolutely right. It's how we do the same thing. The difference is we then have our own unique experience through which we filter it. The problem with AI is it hits this wall of here's this crap. But
if you think about it, I mean, how many movies? Well, maybe not every people, all the people in the world do this, but at least we do. How many movies have we watched through our lives? How many books have you read? How many comics have you read? How many TV shows? Of course, everything.
Shakespeare, everything. It used to be, you know what cracks me up? Is like if you know anything about history and the history of art, it was not only like done, but it was absolutely 100% accepted and encouraged that you would take works of previous masters and build upon it and take your own spin. Like it was a normal thing to do.
It would be weird if you didn't.
Yeah, but now because everything's all copywritten and it's all
it wouldn't honestly be that big of a deal if people could just get paid for their work. Well, like as an artist and as somebody who's had people steal images and pretend to be me or sell my work and all kinds of creepy stuff. Like it's just I wouldn't care so much if it was just like if we all could just get paid.
Yes. I would also argue there's a key difference between independent. Well, no, that yes, for sure that, but an independent artist who is working on their own, right? Is completely DIY the whole nine, and a corporation, I won't name names, who let's just say has gone out of their way to lobby and get laws changed to make it to where public domain laws don't apply to them for as long as possible. That's the kind of crap I'm talking about.
No, I know.
Yeah. So I think there's a big difference between ripping somebody off. First off, Shakespeare, those guys were taking stuff. It was obviously a totally different like framework with how the economy would have worked with it in that world. I mean, you had patrons and all that other stuff, but back then, you were building on something that was hundreds of years old already. It wasn't like they were taking necessarily what Bob next door was doing. Though I'm sure they did that too. I'm sure they did that. Yeah.
I mean, I think they drew, or his stories a lot of times draw from like Greek and Roman mythology.
In Italy, I think there was, I can't remember which one. There was like an Italian playwright that was heavily influential on whatever pieces it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all fuzzy gray areas, but I definitely think it's interesting that there's sort of this recurring theme of the two buddies in Hollywood is kind of a fun thing. And honestly, what if this hadn't been a suspense story, like a thriller, their story would have been very interesting. Like I think it adds a layer to this that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%.
Because when they're on the boat and Tom gets really drunk and just, I'm going to check on the rudder again, or what? And he jumps in and there's, are we not going to go? Nah, just let him. He'll sober up.
Now, hold on. Now context, knowing Kyle is like, no, just let him.
Yeah.
You could make the argument in a way he could die. Like you know, diving drunk, you could die.
He had drunk.
No concern. He's like, oh, now they play it off as like this friendly, like, oh, he's a ruffian. This is how he is.
Yeah.
But now knowing what we know, it could be maybe he wants him to die. It's like,
I mean, they're drinking. What is it? I'm gonna go mix up a couple of gallons of margaritas. Yeah, a couple of gallons of margaritas. So he was not sober, and then. And I was thinking they are gonna stop him. They're gonna, to a certain point, they're gonna let him, and then he jumps in, and then it's like, are you not gonna jump in after him? Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. So it's Well, and then when we find out later on, it kind of I like this. It's a kind of, like I said at the start of the recording. It's a fairly standard 80s TV thriller.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit more to it than that. So,
well, I definitely want to make sure before we wrap things up that we discuss some of the cast besides Wonder Woman, obviously Lynda Carter.
Yeah.
And I feel horrible for saying this. What else is she like known for? Because I feel like that's all I know her for.
Well, we covered Still Watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's done a few TV movies.
Yep.
She's done appearances.
Spoiler, she may pop up later.
She's in, I'm sure she will. She's in both of the Super Trooper movies.
Yes, she is. Okay. Yeah, she's in a movie called Sky High, which is kind of like a.
Oh, is that the one with Bruce Campbell?
It's a teenage superhero movie.
Is that the one with Kurt Russell?
Because there's one called Zoom too, but I think
I think
Sky High was
did you two watch that clip from the Variety special I sent you on Facebook?
Oh, is that what that was? No, I did. I'm sorry.
Okay, so check it out later. But she did some variety show in the late 70s. Yeah, and
I've seen it before.
She's like dressed like a full like showgirl, and there's like kind of a Kiss homage in it. It's awesome.
Oh my god, I don't know when you sent that, because you guys were talking about, and I was of course verifying this is the movie we were doing.
Nope.
The cool part is she at some part in this video she kind of looks like Cher. Like Cher did later, and that kind of ties back to kind of like with the Cher and Gene Simmons thingy that apparently went on.
I don't think I knew about that.
Oh, okay. Well, Cher's on one of the on the solo album that Gene Simmons.
I mean, all those guys were showing up on each other's TV specials back in the day. The 70s just loved a variety show.
Oh boy, didn't they?
I remember when I watched this the first time years back. I was like, that's not Kiss. And then we saw it close up. Oh, okay. Dancers. Okay. So no, but it's fun, but also bizarre. But I just sent you the clip to be kind of cheeky and like, it's funny because Drew asked me, he's like, "Oh, are you sending that to Joel so he'll remember what you're recording?" And I said, "No, I sent it because I thought it was a fun thing to share and it's related."
No. Joel then followed up with, "We are doing Hotline, correct?"
Right. No, I kind of wondered if, because originally when I sent it, it had a thumbnail of the image of the video, and then later it got cropped out for some reason in Messenger. So
in my phone, what's really weird is like I didn't even realize that's what it was. I don't know why.
As soon as I clicked on it, I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, now I see. I saw ready to record tomorrow, and now I see that it's a YouTube link. Dummy.
But I mean, Hotline's on YouTube, so it could have been that too.
Yeah.
Sure. By the way, just so behind the curtain for a second, to which I replied after getting the thumbs up Peter gave a thumbs up. I gave a thumbs up. I said, to make sure I'm watching the right movie. It's the one with Lynda Carter from 1982, correct?
Yeah. And you know what the worst part about that is? In my head, I thought you spelled Lynda wrong.
I know. I realized that after I did it.
No, but look at this cast list.
Okay, so we got Lynda Carter, Steve Forrest, who is he plays Tom Hunter, the actor. He's very familiar. It was SWAT, right? Was the TV show SWAT he was on? I'm pretty sure it was SWAT.
It might have been.
I only know that because
I reckon he was in Mommy Dearest, that one of Daryl's favorite movies.
Yep.
Spies Like Us, he's been in that one. The Longest Day is another war movie.
Yes, I remember that movie. My dad loved that movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. And then TV stuff. I mean, they all did. Alpha represent.
Granville Van Dusen.
Yeah.
Is Justin Price. He is the head shrinker. So
I did not like his character.
Yeah, he had that, but actually I would say good job to the actor, because he did a great job being that sort of pompous, know-it-all, intellectual type. That's just
so annoying.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
I know they quote fingers savior. He was actually, if anyone watched Johnny Quest, No,
I know of it, but I never watched it.
Well,
he was in Space Above and Beyond. I remember when that was out.
Yeah, and he was a voice of Race. Oh goddamn, what was his name? Race Bannon on Johnny Quest. I watch a lot of Johnny Quest because my kids love that show.
Okay.
So.
Monte Markham. Now he's Kyle. He's the killer. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's funny because he played in a few episodes of Golden Girls, Blanche's kid brother, and he ends up that he's gay. You remember that? Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so his voice was very recognizable to me. So when he was doing the whisper, and I'm pretty sure they had him doing the whispering, because if you listen to some of the inflection, it sounds a little bit like him, which is probably a mistake. They probably should have somebody else did it with Scream, just have somebody else entirely do it. Yeah. So it doesn't give it away. And then let's see here.
Does anyone else think that he looked that was a creepy look on him at the end when he kind of made himself look like Tom?
Yeah.
With the makeup around the eyes and the beard.
What version you guys watched? I watched the one on YouTube that was 2 years old.
I think I watched that too. There's a couple of different versions.
It wasn't the greatest. It was hard for me to tell certain things.
There are worse versions on it, actually.
I looked for the best one I could find, which was slightly better than the others. And you could see him when he comes into the big reveal pretty well, but when he takes her outside and he's cutting her hair, it was really dark. It was really
very hard to
happening.
See. Yeah.
That was actually I thought that was fairly more violent than anything that we've ever seen. When he's cutting her hair, it's not like he's just taking small tufts of it. It's like he's really grabbing and really cutting. I was like, oh wow, this is. Yeah, that was Ugh.
So James Reynolds is the captain, right? Or was he just a sergeant?
Ron.
He's a detective. He's the one doing. Yeah, he's the cop.
Yeah, because we established, because she knows him, because when she's driving down it, they talk about when he's the one investigating the body.
Quick question. Am I reading this right that he did 2,784 episodes of Days of Our Lives? Is that correct?
Listen, Days of Our Lives.
Or is that just how many episodes of Days of Our Lives?
No, that was the episodes he was on. Because Days of Our Lives.
If you were on it, you'd be on it every day. So
click on Days of Our Lives.
Does it tell you how many? Does it tell you how many shows total it is?
Go down.
He looks familiar. That makes sense.
Oh my God!
14,000.
Yeah.
14,884 episodes.
These shows were on
for decades.
I think I know our next podcast, you two.
Oh, yeah.
No. We did actually, back when I was still doing the Haunted Davenport, our friend Chris had proposed that we cover, there was a Days of Our Lives storyline that rips off The Exorcist. Talk about that.
Ready for how messed up my life was as a kid? That was Marlena.
Yeah.
And you know why I know that? Because my sister and my mother were obsessed with that freaking show at that time. Well, and I remember walking in as she's levitating above the bed. And so my horror brain wants to be into this, but my 15-year-old brain is like, what the hell?
Yeah. Because I was in junior high when that happened. I think I was a sixth grader, and it was on after school. And so I grew up around soap operas, but that was one that I watched on my own for all of sixth grade, because my dad was like, I hate soap operas and you shouldn't watch them. And I was like, look what I'm doing.
Their Days of Our Lives went on forever. And what was the other one?
Real quick, she was also the actress that played that character that gets possessed was on a Sid and Marty Krofft TV show as Dinah Girl. So like there's a possibility you could have seen her as a little kid and then as a superhero and then see her like spin her head around and levitate and turn green on Days of Our Lives like not that long after.
I just love that they went there. Like in hindsight, like as an adult now, I love how absurd the whole thing is. It's just great. Peter, what were you asking about the other? General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, One Life to Live.
My grandmother said that Guiding Light was on originally as a radio show.
Yes, Guiding Light was on forever.
This is also like a lot of the British TV shows, a lot of the soaps. Just went on forever. And then you go, like you see on a like with James Reynolds, he's on 2,000 episodes. Holy shit! And then you go to the show itself, and so it's like 15 or 16,000 episodes.
Yes.
So that's just. Yeah.
I just realized in this episode alone, Peter, I'm gonna have to put the explicit tag on this show.
Oh, have I? I'm sorry.
No, not you, not just you. I did too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, it makes it. Those that are listening that have been listening for years, hopefully you weren't just listening because it was clean.
Well, to be fair, we haven't.
I doubt it.
We haven't really dropped.
We're not dropping F-bombs. Yeah. If we would keep it at PG-ish,
crap here and there is okay.
I want to talk about the man Marvin Berry himself. Harry Waters Jr. This guy, like, first off, I like this guy. He's got like real charisma. I also love. He was in Death Warrant, the Jean-Claude movie, which I know I saw that because I pretty much saw every Jean-Claude movie back in the day. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember. They all kind of blend together after a while, like this one and Lionheart and Double Impact, and they all kind of start to just do this thing. So.
Then again, he let's say the actor, 24 movies, and what you mostly remember him from is
Back to the Future.
Marvin Berry.
He was on the famous Teddy Z, which I actually remember watching. It was a John Cryer sitcom. I think it lasted like one season. It was like I feel like it was early days of Fox.
Man number 2.
Yes, and he was on 227. Amen. Sherman Hemsley. We were talking about
we talked about that before.
What's happening now, which I watched because I loved What's Happening, and I was happy when they brought
Trapper John, MD, and Matt Houston.
Yeah,
there you go.
Laverne and Shirley. This is his debut.
Holy! I almost did it again.
See? Yeah, I didn't realize this is his debut.
He was good in this.
Nice.
I like him.
I don't mean to sound this in a disparaging way because that's not how I mean what I'm about to say is, but I often wonder, like, he seemed like a very talented guy. He was very likable. Like, there's something about him that just has this quality.
Yeah.
But he's only in 24 things. Now, maybe it was a choice. Maybe he's like, I want to go get a real job and not have to deal with acting anymore. Maybe that's what he did. But
maybe he just went into theater work. You never know.
Maybe that's true. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
So,
that's fair.
He was fine in this one. I liked him. He was a likable character. So probably the most that and the cop.
Yes.
So,
I like both of those characters.
Let's go to the
nut house.
Yeah. James Booth.
Oh yeah, Charlie Jackson.
He's been in a ton of stuff. I remember there's a movie called a Shokasugi movie called Pray for Death.
Okay.
Which when it arrived here in Sweden on video, because
there it is.
There it is. I watched that in a theater.
It's a ninja movie.
Yeah. I watched that in a theater in Copenhagen.
It was 28 minutes long.
Yeah, because you can't. I think because I've tried, I don't think you can find a complete uncut version of that movie anywhere. You can find one that's almost, and then there's something missing, and then you find where that's in it, and then that's missing. It is a violent movie, and
I want to do more really ninja movies.
Pray for Death is really.
I have not seen enough ninja movies.
And James Booth's character in Pray for Death, oh my God.
Well, he was on Twin Peaks as well, which I still haven't watched, and I need to.
Ernie.
Acapulco Heat. I actually vaguely remember that.
Oh yeah.
He was in American Ninja 4: The Annihilation. Was it American Ninja 3 the one we covered with Darrow with the black ninjas?
Yep.
Okay.
And he's also in Avenging Avenging Force with Michael Dudikoff.
Okay.
And he was in a British show called Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, that ran for a couple of seasons. That was really kind of cool about British blue collar workers going around the world getting jobs. It was basically just a drama, but really, really good.
Okay.
But this and in this one, Hotline, when you first see him, you come in and he's hugging the radiator.
Oh yeah.
What's he doing? And then he turns around and he has like a doctor's. I'm like, wait.
Yeah,
okay?
I thought that was very interesting.
Did you notice his feet when he's walking around? He's walking around in slippers and then you think, oh yeah, right, he is a patient here, but he kind of almost fools you there for a moment.
Yeah. Well, also in that place, playing Hooten is Arthur Mallet.
Mallet.
Which the second I saw him, everybody knows, right? What I thought.
City Heat?
Huh?
City Heat?
No.
Hook?
Nope.
Secret of Nim?
Nope.
Although you recognize him from Secret
of
Nim.
His voice. His voice. Yes, actually, I do remember him from Secret of Nim. Yeah.
He was in. What was that?
He's one of the. He's one of the mice. He's like the Professor Mouse guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Halloween. He's the graveyard keeper guy in Halloween.
Oh.
Who walks? Yes.
That's when you're.
Yes, he walks Loomis. Remember, he tells him about.
I know.
Yeah.
Listen, he's Toodles and Hook, okay?
Was it Tom Bowles? Was it Tom Bowles? The story tells him about, he took a hacksaw. He went out. His family was at the dinner table. He went out, got a hacksaw, came back, and
I think so. Yeah. Arthur Mallet.
Yep. Very recognizable character actor.
Yeah, and he is also very in this one.
Yeah. Julian Fellows. That name is very familiar to me, but his face I do not recognize. So I'm not sure why I recognize the name more than the face, but he's in a lot of very British things.
Gosford Park.
Yeah, Downton Abbey, The Gilded Age.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got to think.
Well, he was an actor also, but he was also a writer.
Actually, he was a writer in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got 70 acting credits. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure
and
why.
For people not watching, we're looking at.
Oh yeah, I probably should mention that for those people. This is that moment when I realized this is the conflict with having an audio version of a podcast.
Yeah.
A podcast that started off audio.
Bailey? Okay.
What was he?
Rumpole of the Bailey. I remember that one.
The scrolling through IMDb portion of the show.
The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it, though, for the most.
Yeah, I mean, it's the two small characters, like Arthur Mallet and James Booth, are the ones that are kind of like all out there. But I thought that scene is so funny because I don't know. It's just they're both completely out there, to say it mildly.
It seems fitting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, considering where they are.
So I guess we really haven't addressed this, which is funny because normally I give up the game from the word jump, either I loved it or I'm like, I have a sense of conflict with this movie. And here's why.
Okay.
I read the synopsis and immediately got excited, which we all know I shouldn't do. In fact, I should have read the only reason I read the synopsis because my wife, I was like, hey, can we watch this tonight? Because we're recording tomorrow and I don't want to forget and blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, what's it about? I was like, I usually don't like to know going in. She's like, well, I'd like to know. I'm like,
you could have shown her.
I really should have, because when I read it to her, she's like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Although she fell asleep far before I did. That was the thing that we watched this laying in bed. I think I was pretty tired. So I don't want to like disparage the movie because I was tired, because I don't think that's fair to the movie, because it felt like a good movie.
I think it would have benefited from being a little bit tighter.
Like 80
a little bit tighter
minutes rather than like 90. It was like an hour and 35 minutes. So
it still worked though, but I think it would have benefited a little bit.
Yeah, a little tight. I feel like there was a lot of that stuff in between that if they had taken out, it really wouldn't have been bad.
Hang on. I forgot one that I mentioned in Messenger. The guy who's also in this one, who plays another of the bartenders, Frank Stallone.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, right.
And that was that was the other thing. So ready for funny. So you both told me this was the right movie. I started it. I'm watching the opening credits and I don't see Frank Stallone's name. And I'm like, oh crap.
Wrong movie.
and thankfully he showed up as a cameo in like the first 3 minutes.
But he still
there he is.
later on. I mean, he's not like just at the one scene. He pops up a little.
Oh, yes, funny. I don't remember seeing him. I only remember the opening. Okay. Oh,
he's actually in a couple of small
speaking
scenes.
of the opening, I meant to say this earlier. I apologize. I really dug the theme music for this thing at the beginning and towards the end. I wrote
that down too.
I don't remember how it went, but there was like a certain like cadence. I liked it. It had a good.
It fit the movie.
Yeah, it really did. It was actually a really.
And then we have long periods of time where there's no movie. That's where they could maybe have tightened it up.
It was no music.
We have the music, but it's only an hour 25 long.
Yeah.
But the movie's too long. But let's just play it anyway.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I dug the movie.
Okay. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I think part of that was because I was tired. But I didn't hate it either. So.
No, I like it. It's like I said, it's a standard 80s TV movie thriller, and it works perfectly that way. So, and the fact when she actually, again, we'll spoil it, when she kills the killer, see, and you kind of think, because she shoots him with a harpoon.
Yeah. That was cool. And it goes
and I was like, straight, and it fit. I thought first, wait, did she miss him?
That's what I thought too. Yeah,
and then. Oh, wait, it went through him.
And they did good because when he falls and you see on his back, you see the blood start to form.
The exit wounds.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. I like that.
The more we talk about it, the more we like this movie.
Yeah. Allyson, what are your final thoughts about Hotline?
Oh, I liked it. It's honestly the kind of subject and theme of a TV movie that is right up my alley, I guess. And my only complaint would be that like the love interest character was just so obnoxious and not attractive either. I was just like, I don't get this. Yeah. But I guess she just is dating who's around. What are you doing?
Yeah. I feel like Lynda Carter dated down in that scenario.
So much so. It was frustrating.
Lynda, you could do much, much better.
Well, and I grew up watching Wonder Woman as a little girl, so I already adore her. And
that was my wife. My wife was excited when she realized it was her too. She's like, "Oh, Wonder Woman!"
Yeah. I mean, and I like this so much better than Stillwatch. Stillwatch was frustrating.
You know what's hilarious?
Yeah, this was better.
I know we covered a movie called Stillwatch. I don't remember. I know she was in it.
That's when she went back to her childhood home, taking it over, and there was a painting, and there was someone breaking into the house, and there was that old lady watching.
I remember almost nothing from that movie.
And there was like a political intrigue plot with characters.
Right,
yes.
I remember almost nothing from that movie. That says a lot. Yeah.
Oh, and with this one again, well, like with the Allyson pointed out, the love story. At one point, he's sleeping on the couch, and then all of a sudden, he's sleeping in her bed, and then
that was weird too.
Yeah, and then when the cops call and say we caught the guy, which they didn't, of course, he says, "Well, there's no, I don't have to be. Then you don't need a bodyguard anymore." And then he walks out of bed, and it's like, wait, what's going on?
And by the way, let me just make a point. Now, granted, you needed that scene for her to get the call. I get that.
Yeah.
But like anything to do with him and her romantically probably could have been. They could just remove.
He had no chemistry either. No. Like there was no.
He could have stayed there like a friend to take to kind of watch over her. That would have worked better, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
It was just weird. Although I did find it funny when he's putting on shaving cream and she kind of slips it into the bathroom, and he's like, "Hey, I'm using the bathroom," and then he kind of just kind of like a little boy, like, okay, well, I was.
Just kind of stands there.
Yeah. But other than that, it was that love story was kind of
it was unnecessary.
Very flat.
I feel like that's what they put in to make this equal an hour and a half. So for the screen time, and if it had been more like one of the ones we watched, it's an hour and 15 minutes. It would be probably perfect. It would have been nice and tight and perfect. But what are you gonna do? I'll tell you what we're gonna do, Peter. Not only should they watch it, but they should be here for our next movie pick.
Yeah, and you know what? There's actually just one left this season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What number should we pick?
I think you should pick 10.
I don't know if I feel like picking 10.
You kind of have to.
Well, how about together? Allyson and I will go 3, 2, 1, 10. That way it's both of our faults.
Okay, so we're going back to the early 70s, 1973.
Okay.
It's a movie called The Cat Creature.
Oh.
What?
That's a TV movie?
Yeah.
You're sure?
I think
Yes.
I've heard of that. I also feel like there might be an MST3K of that, but I could
Probably.
be
I don't know.
that wrong.
I think I remember the kind of like, well, since I put the still images together for the show, I seem to remember the cat creature, but I don't know what it is. It's called The Cat Creature, and it's from 1973.
That sounds fun. And then
on this note, this is we're kind of retooling this whole season thing because you brought up you two that are messing with schedules. Wanted to cover I Saw What You Did from 1988 as a bonus. Yes. So that made me rethink, you know what, we'll change things around. So we're going to do The Cat Creature, then we're doing I Saw What You Did. Yeah. And after that, we're putting all, we have put all the remaining other movies, because I have a whole lot. I put them in one master list, so we just pick from that.
So how many?
Yeah.
You really want to know?
Yes. Kind of, yeah.
So far, I mean, if I find more, I will put them in there too. But so far, after this, we have 57. So we have, if we want to, and we do one a month, we will be here for at least 5 more years.
Only 57. For some reason, I thought there was more.
I'll probably find more. I mean, there are movies.
Wait, Allyson goes, 5 years. We're doing this, huh?
Oh no, I'm down for that.
Okay.
But the worst part is there are movies that you haven't been able to find, and then for a brief moment of time they pop up on YouTube, and then you have to kind of quickly find them and
grab them. Yeah.
Sometimes there's shit versions, but you still kind of, that's the only way you can find it. And there's some TV movie. There's one I'm looking for from the early 70s that apparently has been shown one time, and the only copy exists in a library somewhere. So I probably will never be able to find that one.
Tell me the library. If it's nearby, I'll go pick it up.
I don't know. I'll see if I can find some source.
I've got the ability to copy it.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I don't think it's in your neighborhood, but we'll probably find more during this time. But so far on the list that are left are 57.
I'm still annoyed that the new I Saw What You Did movie, it's like I can't find that on physical media anywhere. I know the original is, but the new one, it's on VHS. Nothing.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, the original was a William Castle movie,
that one I get,
so.
But you had thought that a remake in a sense of it, especially with Shawnee Smith being in it, like she went on to be somewhat of a star. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't have.
Wait, so you can't find this anywhere?
I guess I hope it's on YouTube.
Listen.
The new one? It wasn't. The 90s one you're talking about. You couldn't find
it. was 88. Is it 88?
Okay, 88. Yeah, it is late 80s. You're right.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, hosted by Creature Features.
Oh, that's right.
They just did it like a couple months ago.
Yes.
So you can watch this on YouTube with horror hosting, and I knew.
Oh, I'm watching it.
Yeah, I knew you would be excited, and that's why I even brought it up. I was like, we should do this.
That's awesome, man.
And then maybe watch the original too. And
I want to do that. I've never seen the original.
It's good. It has Joan Crawford in it.
See, I changed everything for you guys.
Wow. Well, and also moving forward, dude, it was just in the spirit of changing things. This show will now go on to Apple Podcasts with an explicit tag.
Yay! Let the cursing begin.
Yes.
I try.
Well, if we get another Lucci movie, that's what's going to happen.
I don't think there are. I'm going to knock on some wood. I don't think there are anymore. But
no, I don't think so. I was
really?
Like, if there is, I really need to.
Are you telling me Susan Lucci was only in a couple of made-for-TV?
I mean, she's very busy on One Life to Live. So
wow, I'm actually
really also a long show, wasn't it?
You're weirdly disappointed. I mean, you're only going to get one invitation to hell out of her. Like,
and to be fair, I love that movie.
It's so good.
That movie's fun. Haunted by Her Past. But see, as much as I knock Haunted by Her Past, unlike Still Watch, I remember that movie with its weird mirror and all that thing. Them in the tent. But Still Watch, I literally, if you had said, did we cover a movie called Still Watch? I would say, it sounds familiar.
No, it was kind of boring. I was just
I remember.
It was. I think we were kind of ho-hum on it. There's some pretty cool scenes, but yeah.
Yeah, so, I can tell the ones we've been ho-hum on because when you guys bring them up a year or two later, I don't even remember that we covered them.
I can probably name the movies you've been very ho-hum about. But.
Yeah.
some.
But can you name the ones that I've been happy about and excited by, to the point of being,
Hijack?
I liked Hijack a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. See.
But I mean, we had
Soul Survivor.
Soul Survivor was great.
Yeah.
Are
we really going down this?
No, the anthology, Dead of Night. I loved the Bobby one in Dead of Night.
Yeah.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
Night Terror with Valerie. What's her name?
Valerie Harper.
Harper, thank you.
It was also in People Across the Lake.
Yeah, that one. That which we that's like I Know What You Did. That one we went into knowing we loved that one.
I feel like we're
and
probably
you really
see her
love the Cold Night's Death.
I feel like we would see Valerie. Oh, and don't go to what was it? Don't Go to Sleep with her.
Oh, that movie was bananas.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. I'm here for it. Yep. Well, anyway, so those that are listening, Allyson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do the thing I always do. That's like I'm doing it. How can they find you on the old interwebs?
Mostly here.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
We're happy for that.
Sure. Yeah, you can check out episodes of my old podcast, The Haunted Davenport, at thehaunteddavenport.com. It's also on Apple Podcasts. You can check out Halloween display stuff at Clark Memorial Gardens on Instagram. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Peter?
Yes.
How can they find you?
Well, here again. After
I'm happy about that too.
Oh, thank you. Here and there on the tube, or they can go to Retro Movie Geek, which we haven't recorded in a long while. Which
I know. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, man, we've gone longer than we've gone, I think, ever.
Yeah, but again, life happens.
Oh,
so.
Somebody got sick.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because Peter got the plague.
Oh, you know what? Blame the Dane.
You always blame.
There we go.
I have that audio somewhere. I need to get that queued back up so we could use it randomly.
Oh God, yes. So here, Retro Movie Geek, and over on Hugh's podcast, we haven't recorded in a long while either. We probably should put something together there. Maybe have to message him about that.
Yes.
And that's and they can find my written stuff also on Retro Movie Geek, the site.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I too can be found here, obviously. Retro Movie Geek when we do it. Jay of the Dead's new horror movies, which I know I've gotten messages from people saying, "Hey, is there any new Jay of the Dead's new horror movies coming out?" Because I guess I haven't had come out in a while. Because shocking to no one, I don't listen to shows that I'm on.
No, but it's not that long ago.
I didn't think it had been, but I had somebody comment that they thought that it had been a while. To which I said, I know that I've been recording with them, so their material exists.
Listen, their material has been like a year and a half.
My favorite thing in the world, and we all bust Jay's balls about this constantly, is that I believe. Where are we at in the best of 2023 that still hasn't completely come out yet?
Yep.
And I don't know. The funniest part is that several of us suggested, "Hey Jay, if you wanted to do like a best of 2024, for example, maybe doing like a simple one show. We maybe do like a podcast top 10, right? Where we all and then we can each comment about the movies that we picked, blah blah blah." I don't think he's going to go for that. I think he wants to.
Let's see. April 18th was the last one. That was collected.
No.
With
he's got other shows that are like connected.
Also,
Dead Man Still Walking.
Shows. I mean, I listen to that here and there. Like the shows are very, very long, which means the editing probably takes forever.
I would imagine it would. Yes. I would imagine it would.
So let's see, and then we had the Collectors, Dead Man Still Walking, and the recent proper show for
that's what I think.
But that was April 5th, so that's not that long ago.
I mean, it's been over a month.
Dr. Shock's Dead Air Radio. That was a good show.
Yeah, it's been over a month.
Yeah, but it's not that long. I mean, people should be asking about Retro Movie Geek now.
That's true. Point is, I am on that show as well, and I love those guys, and you should listen to it if you haven't already. And you're into horror, that would help. And so let's see. And then, of course, if you're watching the Terror on the Tube episode, we have the video versions of this and Retro Movie Geek, along with a bunch of other shenanigans on the Mom and Pop Video Shop channel on YouTube's. We're this close. I'm going to jinx it. We're like this close to 400.
Nice.
Where we're slowly eking up.
Oh God! So 400 people have seen that promo, the commercial.
Oh, the commercial.
Yep.
Yeah. Recently, I got to interview a guy named Clint Kelly, who it turns out lives very close to me. He's a cinematographer, independent filmmaker, really great guy who works with Chris Seaver, who I've had on the show a couple times now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All kinds of movies, including his cinematography debut with Chris, which was a movie called Sex Squatch, and it's exactly what you think it is, except it's a much more horror comedy than porn. It's not porn at all.
Actually, Allyson, go through Chris Seaver's
oh my god,
Seaver's filmography. The titles alone are hilarious.
Oh my god, they're amazing. Yeah. What was it? Return to Blood Fart Lake.
Yeah.
Sex Squatch, of course. Sex Squatch 1 and 2. I've got a surprisingly large number of his movies now in my collection.
Yeah, I know. There's some that are actually my favorites, but talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, but so what I love about Clint, though, and also he does a show with Clint and another guy who's part of their filmmaking crew named Andrew. They do a show called SOV Vigilantes, and so all they do is talk about shot on video horror from the 80s and 90s, and I love that stuff so much. I've been like, as they're making, because they have like this insane. I feel like I'm a thirsty man crawling across the desert, and I came to this oasis that is their podcast, because I knew of a few titles, and I take that back. There's a lot of titles I knew about because I read about them in Fangoria growing up, but I never saw any of them because my video stores never had them. I think all we ever had in that arena was like Redneck Zombies. I think everybody had that one. And then Ozone, which is the Jared Bookwalter movie, which in my opinion is like the Citizen Kane of shot on video. It is amazing. If you've never seen Ozone, it is fantastic.
What about The Video Dead?
See, you know what? I thought that was video as well. That was actually shot on film. I think it was shot on film. And Clint, I asked Clint about that movie specifically because I remember that one too. I love the poster. That is going to be bad.
I like that movie. It's very low budget. It's fun,
very low budget. It may be 16 millimeter.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, but I agree with you because I thought it was maybe a video as well, but then it's been so long since I'd seen it. I couldn't remember the aesthetic of it. But yeah, and then Dave Becker hit me up not that long ago, said, "Hey Joel, have you ever heard of this?" And it was called The Zombie Army. It's from like 1990 or 91. And I was like, no, but I'm buying it now. And so I bought it. So for one of the upcoming Horror Lagoons, Dave and I are going to cover The Zombie Army, shot on video movie. Cool. That's a lot of fun. So yeah, they're just fun. I just love them. They're just so
there are some titles I can't say here on this show.
Oh yeah, you can now. You can now.
Let's see. What do we have? Yeah, there's the Terror at Blood Fart Lake.
Yes.
I Spit Chew on Your Grave. Teen Ape versus the Monster Nazi Apocalypse.
Yes, I've seen Teen Ape Goes to Camp.
Yeah, and then we have Moist Fury.
Yes.
Stoinky Beach is one, and the Dingleberries are one of
I've got both
the Dingleberries, right?
I have the Stoinky Saga because I believe there's like a few movies.
There's a couple. Yeah.
And the Dingleberry. What's so great about this? You'll love this, Allyson. So the whole premise of like movies like The Dingleberries and was it Death of Lantern and Happy Holidays and all these movies is that the idea is that there's this lost video label called Warlock Home Video, and supposedly they made these just schlocky shot on VHS movies back in the 80s, and they disappeared. And these have come out now, and of course these are all movies that these guys made like back in 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
But they actually got
or one here from 2002 called 12 Inches of Dangling Fury.
Yes.
It sounds like it's kind of in the spirit of like the WNUF Halloween special where it's like this is the lost recorded news broadcast.
Funny you mentioned that. I think Clint had like a small part in that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's got that vibe. To which they've totally inspired me. I've actually bought a couple of JVC VHS-C cameras that work shockingly well. And I actually rigged one up to record tapeless even, but it has that wonderful like SVHS aesthetic. So I've got that, and I've got my kid. I've been getting like all this old kind of analog equipment just to have fun with. So
they should make T-shirts from some of their movie titles. I feel like I would watch Death of Lantern, but I would also wear a T-shirt that
I think you would dig Death of Lantern. I think you would actually like it because it obviously has the Halloween vibe, and yeah, it's fun. Yeah, their stuff is extremely like non-PC, like it's like as if a 13 like let me just be frank, it's like retro movie geeks mentality of like, but even like more extreme of like just goofiness. But if you watch like an interview with Chris, he's such a he's wonderfully likable guy, and it's like they're friends having fun, just making movies, and it's cool.
It should be.
That's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that's how we got Evil Dead.
Yeah, there you go. The project they're currently working on is called Wellsville Nights, and you would appreciate this. It's meant to be a throwback to like those 1980s movies, like Degrassi Junior High or 15, like where everything is life or death for the teens, but like all the teenagers are being played by people in their 30s and 40s. And it's great. I've got the pilot episode. It's hilarious. It's fantastic. And they shot it on video. It's so great. An old school video, not like modern video.
So, no, and then Chris is super cool.
So. Oh, yeah. Really, really nice.
That sounds
people.
really fun.
Yeah, they're really fun. I love them. All right. So on that note, back to the show.
So we're done.
Yeah. So I guess on that final comment about shot on video horror, until next time, remember, when it's late at night and you can't sleep, you might find yourself flipping through You might find yourself flipping through the channels. And if you do, beware. Because you never know when you just might stumble across terror on the tube.